Ceann Comhairle. Tánaiste, the exorbitant cost of the National Children's Hospital is going to have a very serious impact on the delivery and progression of other projects over the next number of years. That much has been confirmed by the Minister for Health and the Department. And despite the massive implications, nobody involved in the process appears to want to take any responsibility. The Government, it seems, has set its face against any statutory review by either the Controller and Auditor General, as was hinted by one of your ministerial colleagues recently, or any other state organ. The Secretary-General of the Department of Public Expenditure and Reform, whose job it is to supervise procurement and public expenditure, is still refusing to appear before the Oireachtas Health Committee to account for his department's role in the process. The Minister for Health, for his part, and the Department are hiding behind a review of the process being conducted by PricewaterhouseCoopers at a cost of €450,000 of taxpayers' money, to add insult to injury, Tánaiste. At the Health Committee on the 16th of January, Mr Tom Costello, who is the chair of the board of the National Children's Hospital, said that, and I quote, "If we were to start again on a project of this scale and complexity, we would adopt exactly the same procurement approach." And that, to me, seems to be a head-in-the-sand approach. No lessons have been learned, nothing is going to change, and the taxpayer simply has to get on with it. Tánaiste, what we need to know is what projects will be affected. At the Public Accounts Committee this morning, I put to Mr Jim Breslin, the Secretary-General of the Department, if a number of projects, including the second cath lab for Waterford, was under consideration. That funding was promised to Waterford Oireachtas members and regional Oireachtas members. There's a whole raft of capital projects which we now understand are under consideration. We were told that money was guaranteed, and yet today in the Public Accounts Committee, the Secretary-General of the Department is saying no, it has not been signed off on, and it is under review, and it is one of a number of capital projects which is under review by the Department. The new MRI scanner at Midlands Regional Hospital in Mullingar, likewise, upgrade wards in Cavan, the National Radiation Oncology Programme in your own county of Cork, and as I said, the second cath lab in Waterford. We need straight answers. Tánaiste. Only a few minutes ago, Minister John Halligan was in my ear saying that the Minister has said no, this project is safe. So which is it? We have the Secretary-General in the PEC telling us that it's under consideration, and we have local ministers saying no, the funding is secure. So there is going to be victims and casualties as a result of this massive overrun. Services will be cut, capital projects may not go ahead, and you, Tánaiste, need to spell out very clearly to people across this state, either in Mullingar or Cork or Waterford or wherever they live, which capital projects are under consideration and not signed off on, and which are not.
Thank you, Deputy Cullinane. Tánaiste.
Deputy, first of all, in relation to the second cath lab in Waterford, the Minister for Health has made it very clear that he's committed to that, that it's part of the service plan for 2019. And the Taoiseach has said very clearly that the funding challenges in relation to the National Children's Hospital will not impact on the cancellation of any commitments that have been made. But in the nature of capital expenditure, there are, as others in this House who have been involved in significant capital expenditure management linked to government, there may well be delays and space to ensure that the extra €100 million or so, half of which is in the Department of Health, that is linked to the increased cost of the National Children's Hospital this year, that money can be found by delays that may happen in relation to other big capital expenditure projects. We are spending billions of euros this year on capital expenditure. Capital expenditure is up by 25% on last year. So let me reassure people, we are not going to be cancelling other projects that have capital commitment, but the scheduling of payments in relation to some of those projects, whether that's by enforced delays through planning or permitting systems or other delays for that matter, will be looked at in order to create the space and the funding to facilitate the increased cost of the National Children's Hospital. Can I say in relation to the PwC review, what the government is committed to doing here is doing an independent and thorough investigation into the process here and how the estimated expenditure of delivering this hospital increased as it did, so that we can learn lessons from that to make sure that when we spend a committed €116 billion of capital expenditure over the next 10 years, that we ensure that projects are kept within budget, and that we learn lessons from that, and that we do it in a way that is transparent and open. And so when PwC finalise their report, it will be published, so that we learn lessons from that. There are many public projects that are coming in on time and within budget. The National Children's Hospital is a project that we need to learn lessons from, and that's the whole point of getting an independent piece of professional work done, which of course does cost some money. But in the context of the overall cost of this project and the potential savings from lessons learned, we hope that will be money well spent.
Thank you, Tánaiste. Deputy Cullinane.
Tánaiste, I really can't accept the responses to the questions that I put. €50 million alone will come from the capital expenditure in health this year as a consequence of the overrun. You're missing the point that we were informed as Oireachtas members in the South East, Deputy Howland, and other Oireachtas members in the South East, we were told that that money was already committed to. The money was already there. Now we're being told that the project could be delayed, and it's mixed up with a whole range of other health projects which may not be delivered on time. I didn't mislead the House, because I sat in the Public Accounts Committee and I put the question myself to the Secretary-General of the Department. And what I'm saying to you, Tánaiste, and you get a chance to come back, that you are saying one thing and the head of the department is saying something else. And history teaches me that I don't know who to believe on this issue. We've been fighting for this second lab for so long. But in relation to the overspend, here's what we also learned at the PAC today, Tánaiste. On top of the 1.4 billion, on top of the 1.4 billion, there's now going to be an additional 75 million cost for ICT, an additional €52 million for electronic records, an additional €86 million for children's health integration, an additional €40 million for the Matter campus, and the whole project is based on the potential of getting 150 million from the private sector from philanthropy, which is not secure. So we don't know yet what the overall cost is going to be, and what we do know, Tánaiste, some projects, capital projects, are under review, and you and the Minister for Health are not being entirely clear with the people as to which projects they are and what projects will be delayed or scrapped. And you need to be very clear to people, not just in the South East, but across the state.
Deputy. Tánaiste.
I don't need to hide anything here. I mean, I'm looking at my speaking note on the National Children's Hospital, which hasn't changed in a week, and it talks about the costs of investment in ICT and electronic health recording rollout through new ICT capital programmes and so on, the kind of thing that you're now supposedly revealing as some new piece of data that we don't have. This is data that's been in the public domain. So the issue here is around the scheduling of capital expenditure here to take account of the increased costs in relation to the National Children's Hospital, to ensure that that projects that have been committed to are followed through on. The Minister for Health's commitment to the second cath lab as part of the 2019 service plan is there. And what you were told this morning, I suspect, I wasn't there in the meeting, but I certainly suspect that you weren't told that the second cath lab in Waterford is going to be delayed. You were told that the funding is in a process of review. So, I mean, let's not talk. Well, I wasn't there for the meeting. All I can say is that the government is committed to that second cath lab. There are many people in this House who have worked hard on that, from Minister Halligan to Senator Paudie Coffey and yourself and others, who have raised this issue repeatedly. And the government's commitment to it is firm.